kids, welcome back to Roto Talk.
Kids, welcome back. So, I told you in a video a while back that I ordered 2 more boats from the Netherlands. One's called the Moonglow, and the other one's called the R700 Round Nose. And that one's going to be a thunderboat, electric thunderboat. And but this one, the Moonglow, this is what it looks like. Well, that's what theirs looks like. Ours is going to look cooler than that. This is just a simple, fun little thing. This is if you want to get into boat building, which is the primary reason I'm doing this on video, because this boat would take me all of about 4 hours to make. But I'm going to do it in video because I'll put a link to where you can buy this if you want. I'm building it for a couple of reasons. One, might use it for a rescue. Doubt it. But it's not a speedboat. It's not a race boat. It's not a gas boat. I don't even consider it an FE boat. It's just a radio-controlled boat. Okay, and I want to teach my little daughter how to drive. And my big daughter, my 10-year-old, she already has a 3S mono thing that I built her that's super fast. But this will just be a fun little thing. And when I was ordering the round nose or the thunderboat, I just saw this kit and I thought, it actually reminds me of a little toy RC boat I had as a kid, the shape. So I thought, let's get that too while we're doing it. We're going to build it in basically 2 sections. We're going to do the hull, and then we're going to do the top. Very easy. But we're going to do a lot of interesting things to ours as far as the finish goes. I'll save that for later. But I'm also going to put in lights, probably an electric horn, maybe a little bilge pump or something, just to make it cool. I don't know. Make it neat. But this is just going to be a little joy boat, fun boat. So we're going to start off. Again, this is from RBC in the Netherlands. And their directions are pretty much usually pictures with a couple words. You know, and this one doesn't even have that. So the thunderboat we got actually came with a print. I haven't even looked at that boat. That's going to be cool. This one doesn't even have that, so you just got to kind of figure it out. It's not hard at all. I just did a real quick dry fit, sanded all the little nubs, just like this is the same people that built our skiff that we just built on the channel. And I enjoyed the skiff. I thought it was cool. It runs really well. As a matter of fact, I took it out again yesterday. Well, no, we did the engine tuning. That's what it was. And it's working really good. We need to adjust the strut, and she'll be done. So this, if you want to get your feet wet doing some wood building, and you don't want to try to build a frickin' Blazer Marine Backlash Gen 3 or a Thunderboat from Zip Kits, or a harder one, this is a really good way to go. And even if you build it to sit on your shelf in your office, which is probably where this is going, if it turns out as nice as it is in my head, we'll see. But it is all CNC cut. I did a dry fit. Everything seemed to go together pretty well. So this is, it's not going to be the conventional way we build race boats, okay? So you have 2 bottom pieces. Now again, there are no real directions for this, so these are my directions for this. I put a slight beveled edge, took a sand block, and just put a beveled edge on each side. Then what we're going to do, unlike race boats like from Zip Kits and things like that, we're not building this boat upside down. We're building it right side up. Just kind of throws you for a loop. Now, what I did right there is close to being bad, because you want to put the staples where you can get them out. So what I did, this is just a piece of 1-inch board that I use for straight boards. It's the only board in my garage, in my shop, that doesn't have epoxy fiberglass or schmutz on it.
So I got that going for me.
And then I put down some good old-fashioned wax paper, okay? Because we are going to be gluing, we're going to CA glue this whole thing together, and then we're going to put 30-minute epoxy on it and call it good. I mean, it's going to be very quick, but I'm actually just going to do the seam like that too. We're not going to tape it and flip it and all that crap I did before. So we're going to line this up best to our ability, and it looks really precise for CNC. I'm going to put another staple up here, another one there, another one there. Put them where you can get them out. And even if you can't get them out, you'll still be able to pull the boat up. I mean, this is just holding it, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this front piece, I labeled them, and this piece, and we're going to put them together like that. Now, again, this boat's going to take 0 frickin' time. for the most part. If I could find any of my squares. Are you kidding me? So it looks like I need to 3D print some more squares because mine are all missing. That's okay. We'll use the one I've got here. So we got medium and we've got thin CA. I'm going to shoot a little bit of medium, not a ton. Okay. And obviously we're going to use some techniques that we used before in the race boats, but these are a little bit more fun in the sense of, look at how twisted that is. Yeah, square isn't going to matter a hell of a lot. Because if you have too much weight, fine. You know, this thing's not going to be doing 80. If it does, good luck to you. Okay, so hang on. Now, we're going to lock this into here. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to line up these 3 slots. I'll tell you what, building nothing but sport boats with race engines has really screwed me up. I'm so used to building upside down that I cannot help it. This might be the very first boat I've ever built right side up. So, there's no point in trying to square this because it's warped. Very thin, soft wood. Okay, simple dimple. Now, that's good. Midsection, same thing. That's what it looks like. Just make sure it's flush. Again, this is kind of a relaxing little boat to build because not much of it matters. Doesn't take a ton of stress. It's going to be easy to sand. Ooh, way too much CA in that. That thin gets me in trouble. All right. Then the rear deck, or the transom, rear bulkhead, transom. Okay. Perfect. Same rule. Again, just a fun little boat. At least we hope, right? But I do see. Yeah, like that's how we want it. Saw a little bit of an air gap there. Now again, the squareness of this, I'm actually going to be far more concerned with the squareness this way than that way. Okay. I'll do the same thing over here. Hold it up. And the same thing there. Hold it up. Oops, shit. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Only needs to hold it till we get our epoxy on. That is it. You're going to appreciate how fast this is. It's very, very fast. Build. Okay. Then, my dear fellows, we're going to put in our servo rails. Very simple. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm not going to worry about squaring them up. They look like T's. Okay. Not even going to square them up, but what I am going to do, this is where our rudder is going to go through. I am going to put this in, which is going to kind of automatically square them up. Angle it a little bit. And shoot it. Okay. Now, we have to seal this boat just like any other boat. So, we're not gluing this on yet, because that's going to have to be sealed. Okay. That's good. Good. Now, these are our sides for the upper. Like that. So, what we're going to do, same principle, we're going to line this up and we're going to CA glue these in place. Flush. Okay. Actually, do I want to do that? No, we're going to make it all the way down. Alright. Grab back. Alright. So I put a little bit of tack, just thin CA right here. Okay. Left the backs floating. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the poop deck.
Oh, somebody step in a duck?
That's what I'm calling it, with some medium. Alright, so just right here. Right here. Missed half of it. It's alright. Okay. I'm going to relatively square it up. Again, not a precision machine. It'll be straight, it'll be cool, it'll be fun, but we don't need to get quite as crazy like we do on kits under high pressure and high speeds. And this thing just a little day sailor, nothing fancy. Okay, and then we're just gonna take these ends, CA, and bring it in. Okay, I'm going to make it reasonably, use some thin. We're just eyeballing everything, so I'm just doing a little bit of an edge there. Then I'm going to bring this edge up like that. Use some medium. It's not perfect. Doesn't need to be. We're going to make it look perfect when it's done. Okay. Alright, same thing with this side. It's not the space shuttle, it's a toy boat. At least this one is. I might re-break this and make that a little bit better. Gap's gonna bug me. I mean, we can fill it, you'll never see it, but it should look like this side. Okay. Done. Done is done. Alright. I will fix this before we glue that. The next piece we're going to put on is the top deck. Top deck is kind of like the poop deck. Nothing fancy. It kind of squares itself up. Okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to CA this just like that. We're going to bring this piece in because it's a little bit warped. It's shipped from the Netherlands. It's a very porous, soft wood. What are you going to do? All right. Okay, just like that. Like my clamps. Okay. Marginal. Okay, do the same thing here. And again, if you want any of this stuff that I'm using, like these little needle jars and all that stuff, it's on that Amazon list in the bottom of the description of all the junk I use. Okay? And maybe you can find some better junk. If you do, let me know. Alright, same thing on this one. Now this is all going to get epoxied. We're not holding it together with CA. Okay. And we're going to do this side and the top. Then I think I'll fix this back piece, and then I'm going to epoxy everything up. Okay, that side fits nice. Now a lot of times what I do is I'll go over a seam, because I'm putting all, notice I'm putting all the CA glue on the top. I'm not putting any underneath, because we're going to be sanding this thing. And I want that CA gone, alright? We're going to epoxy it from underneath, and we're going to CA it on the top, obviously. So, and then same thing with this bit. Now with this one, I'm going to take thin. I'm going to line it up with my hand so it's flush. Do that. Done. See all that crystallization? You get there? That's going to sand off. Not worried about that. So, at this point, what we're going to do is epoxy this guy together. Now, it's reasonably square. I am going to fix this little back piece because it's just going to bug me. It wouldn't affect anything, but it's just like, it's a little bit down. I screwed it up. And then once this thing's done with the epoxy and glued up, so what we're going to do, I'm going to mix up, let's see, I don't know if I have enough 30 for that. Yeah, we do. We're going to put a bead along this seam. Remember that bevel we put on here? And we got wax paper underneath it. And we're going to 30-minute epoxy this whole thing, all the edges, all the seams from underneath. And we're going to let it cook. All right? But then we're going to move on to the top. So let me fix this real quick. All I'm going to do is take a razor blade, hopefully, like that. That's what's nice about CA glue. Now, I am making the gap bigger in doing that. Take some medium. So it's still going to kind of look like there's a gap there, but there's really not. The razor blade, this is super soft wood. The razor blade made it wider. Doesn't look like it on the camera, I'm sure, but that's now perfectly flush and good. All right? Good. So now we're going to mix up some 30 weight, 30-minute epoxy. You can use 5 or 10, whatever you want to use, doesn't matter. 30 is going to be good because this is all structural, so we're going to do it that way. Use our fancy-dancy brushes. That's all we're going to do. Very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then we're going to come back and do the work on the top a little bit, and then we'll call it a day. Be right back. Right, and we're back. So it's been a few hours actually, because I had to go to the marina and pick up a real boat because the family, my mother and me, and we bought a new pontoon boat for the big lake. So that's exciting. So we had to go do that. But my epoxy cured all the 30 weight that we put in. One thing I thought about though when I came back, this is going to be a hidden cavity. When I put the sides on, I can't get to that anymore. So what we're going to do is we have to seal that now. Okay. So I'm going to seal it with polyurethane. So we're not using clear coat. We're not using West Systems, whatever. We're going to put 2 coats of polyurethane because it's going to be a sealed cavity. It should be perfectly dry anyway. But just in case, nothing's waterproof, guys. No matter what people tell you, water finds a way. It's like an ex-wife. It just always finds a way to get you. Okay? So what I'm going to do is we're going to take some just good old-fashioned polyurethane. Nothing fancy. This is the Minwax Fast Drying. This is the stuff I always use for other projects. But for boats, it does work very well as a sealer. It really does. I like it more as an unfinished sealer. Like I wouldn't paint over it necessarily, but for hidden cavities and things like that, you know, $5 a can, shake it up real good, and it's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to seal this up a couple coats. And it dries quick. I wait about 10 minutes, and then I put on another coat. Doesn't have to be pretty, because you're never seeing this again, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. And again, it's been a couple hours, but I went ahead and sealed the inside of this guy. So everything's copacetic there. All our epoxy's cured up. We will do a sand on the inside to get rid of some of this schmutz so it doesn't look so bad. Not that it matters. You're not going to see it, but we'll do our best. Okay, so what we're going to do now, it's getting a little bit late in the tooth, long in the tooth, as they say, for the evening. So we're going to take this off. That's the nice thing about building on a separate board, is we can just take the whole damn thing off. We'll let it sit a little bit more. You can see that's all nice and sealed and yucky. It'll be a fun little boat. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the top part. It's amazing. It's not even that humid out, and it's amazing how much this stuff is already warped. It's like crazy. So what we're going to do, those are the 2 end pieces. So these are going to go here and here. And this piece here is going to go right here. Now, I'm not even going to bother squaring this up because you'll see why. Oop, it's so flimsy that squaring this is... We're going to square the frame. Okay. Like this. I might use thin for this. Okay. Good enough. Now, we're going to take these little guys. You can see one end is a little thinner than the other. Goes just like that. We're going to use our thin. Again, not worried about squaring this up because it's going to be so flimsy going in that it's not going to make a bit of difference. Okay. This boat, like I said, this is the easiest so far. The guts might be a different devil because we're kind of got to be a little bit creative on the power system. But if you can't build this, you probably shouldn't build boats. I mean, this is about as easy as it gets. If you're a product of the 80s and the 70s like I was, and you built little model car kits, and remember the little plastic ones? I can't remember the brands now, but I used to build... I was big into planes, like the jet fighters and stuff, and I used to love going to the store and buying a model kit and coming home. That, you remember that glue came in the orange and white tube? Oh, I love that stuff. Well, not because you could huff it. I mean, that was nice too. But the whole, yeah, it was fun. But if you can build one of those little... there was 2 brands, and I can't remember them. In the comments, you guys, I know you guys out there know what I'm talking about. There's 2 brands of plastic model kits. One was a little bit better than the other, but they were both cool. I can't remember the names. So I'm just making sure these are level, you know, fully seated. This is a fun boat. I mean, it's there's so no stress here. It's just like, just do it, and we'll sand it. We'll make everything fit. Happy days. All right, and there we go. Perfect. They're perfect. All right. So now, that does not go there. We're not going to put the windows in right now, just because, like, this window frame goes in here, and it'll be easier. It came with clear plastic. Where's it at? Anyway, it's around here somewhere. I'll find it tomorrow. But it's like a cellophane, like a thin plastic. You can make windows, and we're going to do the windows are much easier to make in this state than any other state, and we need to make them in here too. But so rear deck. So the slots are going to go this way. So accurate I am. Probably not very. Come on now. Ah, I knew that was going to fucking happen. All right. Very, very thin. Okay. And then we can fix that though. Okay, see that? How that works? All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our thin CA, because I'm going to epoxy this. This is just to tack it in, because it's all going to get sanded off anyway. That's the thing to think about when you're gluing and you're assembling stuff, especially with CA glue. Because a lot of times, especially if you're using a thin crapola, it'll foam up and turn white, or, you know, whatever, like this did. I don't know if you can see that. Fair play. This is going to get sanded off anyway. This whole edge gets sanded off. At least I'm going to. Alright, so there's that. This is the forward deck that I labeled. Put that like this. Oh, there's my air compressor. Shut the door here. A little bit better. All right. All you're worried about is just making sure it's even. Same principle. Just like that. This is all getting sanded off. We don't care. Alright. And then a little bit here. Because we're going to sand and putty this. Because we're not going to want to see these tab marks when we have the final assembly on. Okay? And these are squaring it up. And there's the top deck. All right. Just like that. So simple. Just a little bit of a tack. All right. And then once we get the window pieces in, so this one's going to go in the front, if I remember right. Like that. Alright. We're not going to glue it in. Just like that. And then this one is going to go in the top pilot deck. Very simple. Nothing but a peanut. Alright. And that is what that's going to look like. But we want to put our windows in. So these pieces here are going to be easier to do without being in the boat. These we have no choice. They're already in there. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take some epoxy. Now look how it's squared up. I can't even shift it. I mean, you can a little bit, obviously. And that's really about it. I mean, this is like the easiest boat on earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some epoxy. Well, maybe we'll do the windows. Let me find that Lexan real quick, or whatever it is, that veneer, and we'll go ahead and maybe put our windows in. Or maybe I'll just cut them and we'll put them in later because I might tint them. I haven't decided. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I couldn't be bothered looking for that cellophane. But I'm gonna put LEDs and probably a horn, radio control LEDs, and possibly like a pump just for looks. Pump some water. Just make it neat. So this is gonna have a lot of things. So we'll just put the glass, quote unquote, in later. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit there. And maybe I'll regret that. That's fine. But I don't think we can put the windows in after the fact. This is going to be a cool boat when it's done, I promise. It's so simple to make. I mean, seriously. It's like neat design. And that's kind of what I liked about the Cracker. It was like, or not Cracker, the skiff that we built from the same people. It's just kind of neat, you know? It's like basic, but it was just thought out. It shouldn't be that hard. It's just a toy boat. Even the race boats that we go and race against people and, you know, cockstar everybody with. It's like, even those are still toys, guys. They're just expensive. That's the only difference. Alright, that's just my opinion. I'm sure I'll get my pee-pee slap for saying that. It's not a toy, it's a way of life. No, it's a toy. Difference between us now and us when we were kids, guys, is that we can just afford bigger, cooler toys. Our parents wouldn't spend $1,000 over a boat because they were smart people. Alright. There we go. And that's done. Alright. We'll put, we're going to epoxy that. That's it. This is the servo plate. This is the keel. This is the motor mount, which is kind of weird. I don't know if I'm going to use. Yeah, whatever. These bits here, I haven't quite figured out yet. I don't know if that's I don't know. We'll figure that out. So we're going to flip this over, and we're going to take 10 or 30 minutes, doesn't matter. Probably use 30 because I'm done for the night. And we're going to go ahead and seal all this stuff up as far as glue. I'm not going to seal it with 30-minute epoxy. And then we will sand everything nice and flush and pretty. And that's going to be it. So let's see if it fits the top of the boat. I'm curious. See what it looks like. Now, if I were building this off camera, just for myself and for just to get it done and cool, I'd say I have an hour's worth of work in this boat. So I have to figure out a way to make the top fit, like, securely. Okay. There we go. So tomorrow, we'll put on the sides, sand everything down, do our putty work, very simple, and seal the hell out of it. Because, again, it's kind of that soft wood that those guys over in the Netherlands like so much. And that's fine, but we're going to go ahead and mix up some 30-minute epoxy. Now, I did get my other silicone cups that don't look like hearts. And we're going to mix this up. 3, okay. Same thing here. Now, if you've mixed epoxy as much as I have, you don't really need to measure it. It's not super critical, no matter what people say. If you have a little schmutz more than the other, it's not going to hurt anything. If you have more resin than activator, it might take a touch longer to cure, or vice versa. It might cure faster if you have more activator than resin. Fine. But the one thing that you do want to do is just make sure it's really mixed well. Now, these little cups like this, I mix it with the brush I'm going to use, because if you've done a proper job, it'll be okay. In bigger cups, I use the popsicle sticks, as you guys have seen a million times, and it should turn this opaque, foggy looking jazz. All right, so nothing fancy. We just want this stuff to stick. And be reasonably solid. I'm not even thinning it. This is on a race boat. I would probably thin it just to make it a little bit less and a little bit lighter. Get you all your little corners. Now again, this is one of those things, if you guys are watching this, you're probably only watching this A, because you're a friend of mine, or B, because you want to get into model boat building. Okay. And these little things go for anything. It doesn't matter what you're building. All right. Make sure you get all the edges. And I think out of all the boats that I've built, which have been a lot, I think that's probably the one thing that I do mess up. Looks pretty level. No, it's not. One of the things I mess up the most, honestly, is the whole forgetting to hit a spot. Like, oh, I think I got everything. Oh, okay. Let's just make sure that's reasonably level, and it's not. I don't want a height difference there, because if I have a height difference there, I'm going to have to putty the living hell out of it to level it off. I don't want to do that. Okay. That's better. All right. So we're going to seal this up. And again, this isn't a structural boat. We're not having tons of KV and tons of power. It's not like that rigger we ran the other day that's doing 70 miles an hour and it's built out of toothpicks. You have to be a little bit more careful when you're building something that's doing 70 that weighs 5 pounds. When you're building something that weighs 6 pounds and is going 10 miles an hour, it's a big difference. And that's all this boat is. This is just supposed to be fun. I'm not being super careful. Just getting everything in there. Just that usually a good rule of thumb is like start at the front and move to the back, or something like that, and make sure you get everything where you need it. Like, for instance, I missed that right there. Okay. Easy. All right. Same thing with this. But this is a canopy. This is a 0 stress limit. Do this back bit. And if you find that you have epoxy left over, reinforce stuff. Especially on a boat like this, because you're not concerned about weight. If anything, you might find out in, like, say, the Tugster from Zip Kits is a good example. If you're building one of those, and I've built many, great little boat. But the problem with those boats is, like, you don't have enough ballast, you don't have enough weight pulling the boat in, so you have to add a bunch of sand and fiberglass or whatever you're using. I use sand and fiberglass, but a lot of guys use BBs or whatever, because you need that extra ballast, and this boat might need that too. So I'm not worried about overweighting it with using too much epoxy. It's not a hydroplane. It's not the space shuttle. It's a toy boat. Okay. Looks like we mixed up just enough. Okay. And I think we're golden. Now, what I am going to do, put a couple lightweight weights on it, just to keep it level. Don't need one there. Okay. And then tomorrow, after this guy's cured up, because like I said, it's getting long in the tooth today, we're going to sand all this off. I haven't decided. I'm going to 3D print a bunch of stuff for this boat. And maybe metal plate it. I've been doing a lot of experimenting with electroplating in the garage here with nickel and copper and what was the other one? Zinc. So I might do some of that. Like, we've got these tiny little rails, and I made an electro conductive paint. I can just dip these in, and then I can plate them. And I think we're going to do some of that with this boat. I'm thinking about plating the entire bottom hull, and then plating all the, 3D printing the, like, searchlight and just the rails and ropes and things like that. I think it might be kind of neat to do. So I'm really going to kind of take my time doing the detail work on this boat, because that's where it's at. We're pretty much done. We've got, besides the guts, a couple more little pieces to do. We got the sides, and then sand it. We're done. Put in the windows. But so the devil's going to be in the details with this boat, because I want it to be a neat little boat. And I think it will be. I think it'll be really cool. So for the money, and it's just like, this is a great project to do. Like I said, if you're starting to build a boat, you just want to get used to epoxy, wood glue, sanding, the very basic form of building the boats that you've seen on this channel or other channels, like you see the big race boats. Start with something like this, because if you screw it up, you're not going to bawl your eyes out at night, because it's just like a little boat. It's not, some $300 kit that you bought and a $300 engine and a $400 hardware kit and, all this other stuff. It's a very simple little thing. But if you can make this nice, then you step up, step up, step up. Don't go out and buy yourself a Blazer Backlash or an ML Boatworks, this, that, or whatever, if you've never built a wood boat before. Start off with something that's really well engineered and fast, like a Zip Kits. Or if you really want to get into the whole modeling feel, build something like this. When we get done with this boat, it's going to look awesome. It's going to have a beautiful paint job. It's going to have metal, overlays and things like that. It's going to have all sorts of cool little functions. I'm seriously thinking about designing an air horn for it. And just to putt around the lake and just to have fun with it and just let it sit out there. And if I'm on the deck, I can putt around. and let my daughters play with it. But I want to make it so I can also stick it on the shelf in my office and just let it sit there. I don't have the room out here for it. So, pretty neat little thing. So we're gonna do our best with the finish on there, see if we can make it nice. So anyway, stay tuned for tomorrow. We're gonna finish this guy up. We're gonna tack on the sides. We're gonna epoxy the sides in. We're gonna sand this dude down. Figure out a way to keep this top on, and pretty basic stuff. I don't like the fact they left this back part open. It's like completely open, which is kind of weird. So I might cut a piece of wood and seal it, because I don't really like that, because I want to put the windows in there, have some fogging, and just having this big open, and you're going to see all the way into the boat. I don't know about that. So we might slap another piece of wood on there tomorrow. But either way, keep the dry side up, kids. I hope you have fun following along with this or doing something on your own. That's what it's all about. It doesn't matter what you build, it doesn't matter how you drive. It's the fact that it does something for you and you have fun with it. That's the important part. Never let anybody take that away from you. If you fuck it up, you fuck it up. If it's a beautiful thing, it's a beautiful thing to you. So anyway, keep dry side up, kids. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.